Well, Linda, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You've been in elected public service for over 30 years. I'm certainly your experience in private life has kind of commingled with your public experience. Tell us about some of the greatest things that you've been involved in, or what you've enjoyed about your time in public service.
I think when you feel like that you've accomplished some things or that you've made things better for your citizens,
Mm-hmm.
that's always highlights for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even through controversial items, I think that helps you grow, and I think it probably brings, when it's controversial, people pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you feel good when people do pay attention, although I don't like the controversy part. But,
Right.
you know that they're really listening and they're taking in and they're watching and stuff. So um, I don't know, probably want to talk about controversial, but success or what you feel like you did right.
Mm-hmm.
When I was on the school board and we passed this bomb referendum,
Right.
and we had to, well, we decided that we would try to do something at each school because we knew if we didn't, we wouldn't get it passed.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to Southwood School, they asked me, because that was my community and stuff, what I felt about what we should do there. Should we keep the old main building or should we build a new one?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, absolutely, without a doubt, build a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, why? And I said, well, I've been involved with that school. I went to it. My dad went to it. I met my husband there, and my children went to it, so on and so forth.
Right.
I said, but I was volunteering one day, and I was out there when, if it was raining, all the kids had to go through the breezeway to get to the lunchroom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was out there one day, and a big hunk of that concrete fell
Mm.
right where if it had been a little child, it probably would have killed them.
Right.
And the other thing was I had been all down in the boiler room in the bottom and knew it was bad. We weren't using the top floor. And you could take a key literally and go anywhere on the outside of that building. You could scrape all the mortar out you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was what I based my experience on. But we went to each school and explained what we were trying to do. Well, my name was Mud.
Was it?
Back then, you had advisory councils at each school, and they were there.
And at the time, did we have a split school system, county schools and city schools, or had they merged at that time?
That was before we merged.
Okay.
I think.
Because you served during the time that they merged, didn't they?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
We were given 6 months to merge the school system.
Oh, wow.
And it's sort of funny, but I guess it helped. It's fun. It's amazing how the good Lord puts you through all these things that come back into reality or into play as your experiences move on. But we sued the county commissioners
Mm-hmm.
because in their plan to merge things, they said that the system would be funded at the highest rate that a system was funded before. Well, what they forgot about was that the city of Kinston had that tax.
Mm-hmm.
And so that naturally put it up higher. So they were going to fund us at the old county rate.
Mm-hmm.
So we took them to court and we won.
And look at you now today,
Oh,
chair of the board that you sued years ago. You served for chair for a few years now. Tell us about your time there. I mean, obviously you're the chair of a county that's still a tier one community that it doesn't have all the resources and the amenities that some other communities do, but it also seems like we're doing okay. It's like I don't sense any desperation from us. I mean, there's always challenges, but tell us about your time serving and some of the projects and things you've worked on there.
Well, that's what I'm so proud of. And sometimes I wished our citizens could realize how fortunate we are to be a tier one county and to have the amenities that we do.
Mm-hmm.
All counties don't have a dog park. All counties don't have an arts council. All counties don't have a community health center. I mean, I could go on and on naming the things that our county has that you don't expect to find, for a tier one county.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very proud of that factor. And it's because we've tried to balance, we've tried to, because just because you're poor doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to participate in certain things. We should have good sports and parks and recs for our
Right.
children and those kinds of things. But I think probably the thing that has brought me the most joy and satisfaction, and our board, is that we had never had a retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never served on anything that you didn't have a retreat. So
It's healthy to get away. It's
it
healthy to get
is.
the elected leaders outside the normal chambers they're in, the normal routine, go somewhere else and just think and discuss and strategize.
Well, the only thing we had ever done was we would go to the meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and you had the meetings, you leave. Once a year at Christmas, we went and had a meal, Dutch,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. There was no really any time for interaction.
Right.
When I was on the school board, we always went to everything that was state and national, and so we had a lot of time that we, you know, got to know each other
Right.
and really learned how to gel and work together as a board. But I had mentioned having a retreat several times, and it was going to cost too much money. We just didn't need to do it. So when Michael James came as our our county manager, he and I were talking, excuse me, the first day we met. And we were talking about various things. We met all day long, talked about our personal stuff because we felt like we really needed to get to know each other because we were going to have to trust each other,
Right.
have each other's back. And it was a wonderful meeting. But it was just amazing to me the things that someone coming outside into our county, the perspective that they see that we don't think about.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the questions he asked me was, well, when do y'all have your retreat? And I said, give me a high five. And he looked at me like, what in the world? And I said, I have been trying to have a retreat ever since I've been on this board.
Right.
I said, because I don't feel like I have enough downtime with my fellow commissioners to really know what they're about. Because most time when you get into those conversations, you find out you all want the same thing. You may want to go about it a little
Right,
differently.
and you all have different backgrounds. You have different business
That's
professional
right.
backgrounds. Some are black, some are white, some are Republican, some are Democrat, some are younger, some are older. And I understand what you're saying there. And out of that retreat or retreats, I don't know how many you've had, but out of that discussion, what are some of the initiatives, some of the things that y'all have tackled since then?
Well, we developed our 5-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
And each year we have a retreat, and we don't go out of the county, by the way. We go to an extension office, so it's very, very cheap. Yes, our lunch is paid for.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we developed that 5-year plan, and we set goals. And then each year when we go back and we have a retreat now, we look at that list, and we mark off what we've accomplished, and then we think about what else we need to do and sort of add to it. So when we go back and look at the things that have been accomplished and that we have done, I really feel like as a board we've really done well.
Mm-hmm.
We've made some and it's no big fanfare or anything like that, but it's things that we needed to do that sort of have been put on the back burner, and they're important things. And because we always felt like we didn't have the money to do it, I guess. But anyway, there are things that are so important, such as your maintenance on your buildings and those kinds of things.
You just unveiled a $3.5 million investment in what I refer to, because I'm older, the old Wachovia building, which is your administration building now.
Correct.
So this is where people walk in to pay taxes. What other departments are there, as well as I know your county manager's office upstairs and your new chambers for your county commissioner meetings. What other offices are there now?
We have, if you're on the bottom floor, we have to the left, we have the Register of Deeds.
Mm-hmm.
And then over on the right, of course, is the tax office.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go upstairs and we have our HR department. We have our finance department. We have planning department.
Mm-hmm.
And seems like I'm missing something.
I know that your economic development had an office there as well, and most of their efforts are at the GTP, in terms of where their administration works.
And we do have a little office up
Right.
there for Trey,
Right.
who is our economic developer. So,
Well, think about economic development. I mean, we've had a pretty big announcement in our community recently, and one that I've been hearing the buzz about it for a long time, and it's the FRC East. and it's at the Transport. And then right behind that was a groundbreaking for Lenoir Community College. Tell us about what's happening there and how much of an impact you honestly think it's going to be for our community.
Well, FRC East is just phenomenal because there will be probably around 400 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And the impact of the amount of business that they do there will definitely affect our economy. And what we're thinking we're going to see too will be, and this is a lot of what success is when you have something like a global transport, is that there will be businesses who provide parts or whatever that might be needed that I think we'll see coming.
And what is FRC East?
FRC East is the department that services. I think this one is the helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
I may be wrong on that, but the helicopters, and they're doing it on base, but they don't really have the space. And so we, in this partnership, we had the land and the space, and so we're gonna, they're gonna move down here, and so that will give them more, space back on the base.
So you really got like United States Navy and the state of North Carolina via the Global Transport and Department of Transportation working with county and city leaders to accomplish what could be a really big game changer out there for Global
Absolutely.
Transport.
It's amazing to me because I'm mature enough that I was around sort of when things started with the GTP and the emphasis was on cargo.
Oh, I remember.
And now that has switched from cargo, I think, more so to aviation.
I have told my team enough times that when I was in Mr. McLaughlin, his wife served in the North Carolina House, but he was my ELP or I guess social studies teacher, and showed us a laser disc of the transport. And I remember Governor Hunt and other representatives talking about the cargo, and that was a big part of the reason why I came back home and to see it. I know it's evolved, but Fly Exclusive is there. It's a publicly traded company and headquartered right here in Kinston.
Draken is there.
Right. And I see those guys eating at Jay's 108 and other, Sugar Hill all the time.
Oh, yeah, they're great in the community and involved, and some of them are living here. It's just, it does my heart good because a lot of the folks who retired now, many of them are remaining in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they retire at an early age. And so a lot of them are not ready to, just give up on everything. So this has provided opportunities for them to be employed and do things that they love, like mechanics and, like the folks that work at Draken. And it's just amazing to me how it's changed and how the future is going to continue to change even more, and it's just really exciting to me.
Well, I tell you, thinking about our people who are watching, I feel like you've served long enough, and I've been on the sidelines and in the mix of it enough that we could probably talk for an hour. About these issues. But as I think about a couple other issues as we kind of close, tell me about your employees and what you've done there for the county employees, and tell us a little bit about what you see in the future for our county as a whole.
We had really not treated our employees as well as we should, I'll put it that way. And because of the fact that the market was getting so scarce with employees or potential employees, we really almost hit a crisis, just like the state has been, so on and so forth. And we began to realize that we couldn't keep putting it off. We couldn't keep saying that, we just can't do it. And I've always been a real proponent for employees. That was one of the things that I worked real hard at and lobbied for when I was president of the State Employees Association. Because when you work with a government agency, you're not going to get market pay. It's not going to be the top pay. But in a sense, that's a public servant job too. But you always felt like that the benefits would outweigh what you didn't get in the market.
Right.
And, you know, like I said, we just were cutting our employees short. So that was one of the goals in our strategic plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so we looked at we looked at what our salaries were and did a salary study. And a lot of people got upset because we spent the money to do that. But the reason we did that was because you can't just compare salaries, because Dupin County or Wayne County may give different benefits than we give.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to look at the total package and really compare apples to apples and not apples to oranges.
Right.
So that was one of the main reasons that we did that study. And when we came out, we saw some we were, okay, but there were a lot that we were not. So we tried to sort of fill in those gaps and bring those up that we really needed to bring up. And then since then, we've been trying to yearly, look at our employees and be sure that we do something for them because it's so competitive now.
It is.
I mean, we were in a factor to where, it really got hard because somebody would hire our employees and then another county would hire them from them,
Mm-hmm.
and it just went on, and you get to a breaking point. You can't keep up with the Joneses but so long. And so now I feel like we're on a good steady plan, and we're trying to do something yearly and sort of look at the market and see how fine we are. And at the beginning, some of our commissioners got a little upset, and we're talking about how much money we had done and, all this kind of stuff. And I said, well, guys, you got to remember, you can't make up for in 1 year what you've not done in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm real excited. And I've had so many employees to come up to me and say, thank you. Do you know what it feels like for somebody to come and tell you thank you?
Right.
And I mean, met people in the building, and it just really makes you feel good that they know that you really do care.
And you do. That's been evident in your years of public service. What do you think about moving forward? What can people expect? I mean, do you have like a half as glass empty approach, or is it a half full? What do you see going forward for Linda Rouse Sutton and Lenoir County?
I think we continue to chart the course that we're on. Our retreats are, like I said, really important.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about, what we feel like are the important issues coming up. Our budget, as I said, is based on that. So we look at what we can do and what we can't do, and continue to have those. When we had that first retreat, I told Michael, I said, there's one thing I want us to do. I said, I want us, at some point in time, if we don't do it at one time, to have to get in small groups and have a board up there and, write answers up there.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, and we do that every time now. So it gives us time to really talk to each other informally,
Mm-hmm.
About what you feel like is important or, why I feel like it's important. And, it gives you a chance to really, think about a compromise, what's good for whatever the topic is, but yet it's good for our county too.
Mm-hmm.
And I am just so proud of our board because, as you know, it was not a very smooth board there for a while. But we are now. We're all together. We're working together, and there's not anybody on there that doesn't care
Mm-hmm.
for, the citizens and the employees of Lenoir County. I got asked last night. I was at a forum, and they wanted to know what my affiliation was. I said, well, I'm a Democrat. I said, but I'm going to tell you something. I said, when we go in that chambers and we get ready to vote, I don't say now, should I vote Democrat or should I vote Republican or what? We vote for what we feel like is best for the citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's the epitome of a true politician is, you put everything aside. Because with that comes controversy.
Right.
And you find out if you're a leader or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm real proud of our board that they've done that, and we've got a good process. We have an agenda review with the vice chair, myself, and the county manager, assistant manager, and the clerk before every meeting, and we will go over what the staff proposes that we have on the agenda. If Eric and I feel like our group doesn't have enough information, we'll ask Michael to pull it, or either get him to send them something else. And so we encourage them to call and talk with Michael or myself or whomever to, ask your questions and, don't wait till you get to the board meeting and
Right.
And that has worked really well. In fact, we have a new attorney, and he is such a wonderful guy. And he came up to me after our first board meeting, David Baxter, and he said, "I've never been to a meeting this short."
Mm.
I said, "Well, we like to keep them short." And I said, "It's not." Some people say, "Well, everything's done before you get there." It's not everything's done. It's we're educated.
Right.
We've asked those questions, and Michael and the staff has given us the information that we need. And he and Adam are always available to ask questions, and our folks do.
Right. Well, listen, we appreciate not only your service to our community and state the last 30 plus years, but also your willingness to serve in the future if you're elected, of course. And so we want to remind everybody that the election is happening, and Neuse will be live on election night. And so we'll be calling your name one way or the other. But look, thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us about your service.
Thank you so much for having me. And I said it's in the good Lord's hands.
Mm-hmm.
And if I win, I'm a winner. If I lose, I'm a winner. So just wish everybody good luck.
All right. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it.
Thank you.